Hello, everyone. Welcome. And today I want to share with you 3 simple practice positions you can use to benefit your shoulders, your neck, and your upper back. It's going to be super simple stuff that you can do in your home or in your office. It'll be so easy you could do it from your couch for the most part. And if you've had shoulder, neck, or upper back pain, I can relate. Over 20 years ago, I was stuck with it for several years, actually, chronic pain to the point that I actually lost function and use of this shoulder quite a bit. And when you don't use a part, you tend to lose muscle mass. So I eventually ended up with roughly half as much muscle mass on the right side of my body as my left. Not a good situation. And I went to all kinds of experts to get help, and with little success for quite a while, and spent a lot of time and money. But eventually I did come across a mentor who taught me some very simple, easy to apply tactics that were able to get me back on track. I apprenticed with him for a couple of years, and I've been using those tactics for over 20 years now to help my own clients with aches, pain, stiffness, swelling, nerve impingement, and joint problems. And most recently put those techniques into this book, Jiffy Body, an award-winning book, actually, Jiffy Body, the 10-minute system to avoid joint and muscle pain. So before I show you the practice positions, I just wanted to recommend 2 things before you ever work with your body physically. You want to do 2 things. Number 1, drink water. Number 2, warm up. So you want your muscles to be a little more pliable when you work with them. It's kind of like a piece of taffy. When the taffy's warm, it's bendable. When the taffy is colder, it's more brittle and easier to break. So drinking water will help improve blood flow to make your muscles more pliable. And then warming up will achieve the same purpose. So any light and easy activity for 5 or 10 minutes. You could do some chores around your house if that's light and easy for you, or go for a walk around the block. Do those 2 things first, and then you'll actually get more benefit from the practice positions as well. One thing I wanted to mention to why these practice positions actually work is because of a core concept that I write about actually in the book. It's the core concept of the whole book. It's called muscle balance. So to understand muscle balance, it's helpful to think of your muscles as like cables, that support a suspension bridge. So you got your Golden Gate Bridge here, right? And you got the cables on the sides. And if the cables are tighter on one side of the bridge, it's going to make the bridge lopsided and cause structural problems. That bridge isn't going to stand very long. Similarly, we have muscle cables that support our body structure, which consists of our bones and our joints. And if our muscle cables are off balance, that's going to make our body bridge lopsided and create structural problems. So here's a simple example, and this will relate to the practice positions as well. Let's say these upper front muscle cables are excessively tight and short, and let's say these ones are overstretched, elongated. That's going to allow our structure to be pulled off center, like we're moving towards kind of like a hunchback position. And this might look familiar, right? This is how we tend to sit where we got the steering wheel in our car, or myself included, kind of hunched over my computer. And here's the thing: if you sit on average 8 hours a day in a year, 365 days, that's easily 2,900 hours of sitting where you're practicing this position. And the thing is, your body gets good at what you practice most consistently. So in this case, you're practicing tight, short upper front muscles, and you're practicing overstretched upper back muscles. And that's allowing your structure to be pulled forward off center. And that creates problems for your structure that you'll experience with symptoms like aches, pain, stiffness, swelling, nerve impingement, and joint problems. So if we can return your structure by practicing these 3 positions coming up, these simple positions, if you can practice those a little bit every day, then you can start to practice the opposite, right? This is how we are when we sit. So we want to learn to practice the opposite of that, essentially. That's how you can create better muscle balance. Practice the opposite of what you're already practicing a lot of during the day. So here's an example. We want to stretch. Actually, we'll start with the shoulders first. First practice position to warm up the shoulders. And so your hands, and I'm seated in the couch. You could do this in your couch too if you want. Palms up, your elbows are tucked in by your sides. You just start at the middle and start rotating out. Okay? And you might look at that and go, well, what is that doing? That just looks so simple. And it may be for you. And if that's the case, that's a good thing. But here's the benefit of this practice position. The key part of the practice position is as your hands go away from your middle, you're going to be practicing what's called external rotation, getting really fancy here. But what that means is this part, we're practicing the opposite of what we do at our computer, right? Because when we're at our computer, we're internally rotated 8 hours a day, 2,900 hours a year, internal rotation, pulling our body structure off balance. So that's the benefit here of practicing the opposite direction, right? We're practicing external rotation. And the first time you try this, just go super easy. With any new practice position you try for your body, just do 2 or 3. Try it out, see how you feel the next day. You're building rapport with your body. You want to teach your body to trust you, right? So, after you get used to this and you're like, oh, this is easy, I can do it every day. Maybe you could eventually do up to 20 or 25 repetitions. You could start to practice this when you get up from your desk. You can see what happens, right? This is me sitting. And when I practice this, it starts to take me the opposite direction. Hey, kind of sitting up straight a little bit, right? So that's the first practice position. The next one is, we talked about tight upper front muscle cables, right? So we want to learn how, this is what happens when we sit a lot. So we want to learn how to stretch these out. So this is a little bit less than ideal using the couch the way I have it right now. But if you could picture this couch handle as a wall, right? And you're putting your hand against the wall and you then rotate away from the wall with your body, you're going to feel a stretch in your upper front cables, right? Feel a stretch on this side, and then you could find a wall, and then rotate the other direction to stretch the other side. Same thing, first time you do this, go super easy. Just do it for a couple seconds, see how it feels. And then the name of the game with these practice positions is there's super simple things you can do with just a few minutes a day that you can start to practice every day, right? But you start small, see how it feels, and you go from there. Okay, so that's the second practice position. Eventually, if it's feeling comfortable, you could hold it 20 to 25 seconds, and then you might start to really like it and go, hey, wow, I feel like more, I have better balance with my upper body. My shoulders starting to feel better, that kind of thing, because you're creating a more neutral, mechanically advantageous position for your shoulders and your upper body. The third position, number 3, is it's a rowboat type practice position. So your elbows are tucked in by your sides, and then you're pulling your arms back. Picture yourself, you're like rowing a boat, right? And as you row the boat, you're squeezing together these upper back muscles. That's what creates the power to pull the oars back. Okay? So what you could do is put your mind in the muscle as you pull the arms back. You want to picture these muscles squeezing tight together. And if you don't feel much from that, you could also try a rubber band, attach this to a doorknob, right? And start rowing back with the rubber band. But it doesn't have to be tons of resistance. The idea with this is we're just pumping blood into these upper back muscles. Okay? So, and that's a key point here, is when we don't want to stretching is fine for a purpose, but we don't want to stretch out every muscle group necessarily. In particular, with these upper back muscles, they're overstretched from lots of sitting, right? From being like this, they're overstretched. So that's the whole point of this rowboat, is activating and shortening and even strengthening and pumping blood into these muscles so they can hold position better. And so I'm sure you've seen the extreme version of this muscle imbalance, like maybe someone walking down the street and they look like they have a humpback, right? Or hunchback, or whatever you want to call it. So we can all have lesser versions of that imbalance. And these 3 simple practice positions will help you counteract that, create better muscle balance for your upper body, allow your shoulders and your neck to return to a more neutral, mechanically advantageous position, and then you'll get better function. And same thing with the neck here. I mean, there's other things I teach in my book to practice neck range of motion that are beneficial for the neck as well. But the first thing we want to do is create that better muscle balance and structure for the upper body so that your head is in a more, like I said, neutral position. It's kind of like a waiter carrying around a platter of dishes. If the dishes are on the front side of the platter, it's going to be really hard to balance the platter. So our head's like the platter. If it's too far forward and off center, it's going to be really hard to balance our head. And these muscles up here are going to really struggle and strain to hold on for dear life. And that's going to restrict blood flow into the upper body, into the neck muscles and upper back. And that's going to cause your aches and your pains. And this lack of balance as well is going to cause structural issues for the joints in your shoulders and neck. So by doing these 3 simple practice positions, practicing external rotation, practicing stretching upper front muscles, and practicing activating and shortening upper back muscles, we can create better balance, better function. We can eliminate aches and pains and also prevent aches, pains, and injuries. So that's it for today. I hope you like the information. I have a free handout for you actually that has these practice positions in it and a couple other ones. I'd be happy to send it to you, or you can get it from my website. I'll put that in the comments below this eventually, but also you could visit my website, jiffybody.com/contact, or just email me, bart@jiffybody.com. I'll be glad to send that free handout. It's like a little mini book PDF I'll send to you. And if you like this information as well, you can check out my book at jiffybody.com, learn more about that. It teaches people a simple 10-minute system they can practice every day to create better muscle balance and create better function. And it's super easy. It'll make you feel better right away. And it's so easy you could practice it in your pajamas. Last but not least, if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up down below so I can share it with more people and help more people. If you wanted to copy the link and send it to a friend too, that would be great. So thank you so much and have a great day. And I'll be back next Tuesday, the same time, 12 p.m. Thank you.